This is a certified hood classic.
Hey now. Hey now. Hey now.
Order in the courts. By the way, very messy court we're starting on today.
Oh boy, this is wires everywhere. Just stuff strewn, as I would tell my children. Well, you got shit strewn from one side of the room to the other.
Right. Looks like some serious things happening at this court, but we're just starting here. We're gonna actually jump. You got a protection order, huh?
Yeah, we got some TPO stuff from yesterday. Today we'll be having two young ladies who are living together. You know what that means? She's paying her to live there. One lady owns the house, the other one does not. And there's been some threats thrown around, self-harm and harm to others that we've got to get to the bottom to. Got to get to the bottom of this.
All right. I'm ready.
So let's jump on over to Judge Dude in a much better mood than yesterday, by the way. And thank you to the almost 4,000 people that have watched that video from yesterday. We appreciate your patronage. We'd love for you to like the video and subscribe, because 58% of you that watch the video not subscribed. Not subscribed.
Now, at the time of filing, you were living with the respondent in DeKalb County. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And what was the period of time that you two lived together?
She moved in March of 2022 and then recently left with the TPO.
So a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And in your petition, it looks like you outlined some things that happened. Some have dates on them, some don't, but it looks like, is this a property that each of you rents, or are you essentially the landlord, so to speak?
I own the home.
Okay.
All aboard the Gary Express.
The Gary Express. I like that.
Thank you, Gary.
Gary.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Creed.
No, I just had to cough a little bit there.
I thought he was vomiting at first.
Getting over
and
that.
So you gave a 60-day notice, you said in your petition, around April 5th.
Yes.
All right. And in your petition, you describe an incident that happened that same day. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Was that before or after the notice?
A little bit of both.
Okay. So walk me through that day.
So I wasn't home. I was out. I was having lunch with friends, and my other tenants, I have a 4-bedroom home. They were home and they said that, we call her Sandy. So Sandy was slamming doors, screaming that she was going to kill someone, screaming that she was going to kill herself. And they said it was scary, like in all regards of everything, it was scary. So they called me and Shay was like, hey, like, well, she texted me, hey, like, Sandy's acting like super weird. It's like making me uncomfortable. Like, it's pretty like, maybe you should check on her as the landlord. So I called her and we talked.
Can you really call yourself the landlord when everybody lives there with you?
I don't know about that. Regina Edwards, 2 bones. Thank you.
Could you imagine that she's got 4 bedrooms and she's renting 3 of them out to people?
That's pretty,
strangers.
Do you think that she does the math properly so that she doesn't have to pay the mortgage and everything gets?
Yeah, she's making money, Daddy.
Yeah,
she's making money.
By the way, by Lady Judge, we're not talking about Judge Manning, Judge Woke, I would imagine, right?
No, good old Judge Woke. Yeah, she wasn't even working. Oh,
I understand. It'd be interesting to find out if they were lovers or just roommates.
I'm going to go just roommate because the other lady keeps touching her face a lot. That's a turnoff.
Oh,
so We'll find out. Let's delve more into these two young ladies' lives.
For roughly, I think
Reveal.
I documented it, 26 minutes. She said she was upset about my dogs barking, but like the way she was talking to me,
Her
like it
feet
was
hurt,
like,
you mean?
again, she was saying I'm going to kill myself, like this is insane, telling me I'm like, am I allowed to swear? But I don't know. But she,
You swore to tell the truth. So actually, if somebody swore, then I need you to say accurately what they said.
okay, she was like, you're a shitty person. You don't give a fuck about other people and their mental health. And I was just like trying to stay calm and like listen. I don't really raise my voice at people. So just hearing her out, I was like, if you're not happy here, it's okay to leave. I will give you the rest of your money for the month. It's okay to leave. I don't want to hold you hostage, feel like you're stuck here. It's okay to leave. And she just like kind of was going off on me, like whatever. And I was like, at the end of the conversation, I don't think there was really resolution. I said, I will try to work on the things my dogs are doing to upset you, but there's no guarantee because I can't control their behavior when I'm not home, And I guess that kind of upset her. I've had other tenants here who've never told me my dogs were a problem. I have 2 tenants now who have never said my dog is a problem. So like all those instances I sent you kind of document everything that had happened. So after all those instances, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give her a notice. So after I gave her a notice, she proceeded to harass me via text message all night.
All right. So the dogs are barking. Creed, I'm guessing you brought up the fact maybe she's talking about her feet.
Yeah, no, I think she's talking about pets, I guess.
I'm guessing she does have the animals. If you're renting a room from somebody, do you really have the right to say anything about their dogs?
I don't know. I can't imagine living.
Well, maybe it was a vicious dog like that one. My God, that
I
dog scared
highly
me.
doubt it. She's an ankle biter owner, I would imagine. I couldn't imagine though living with the person I'm renting from though. It really would. Even if they're pretty chill, I would still feel weird. I don't know. Even if I was renting the place, I would still.
Yeah, because you're like, oops.
Elijah, thank you for the $2. I see what you did there.
I did get a haircut. Thanks for noticing.
Nah.
Flesh of 2 bones.
All right. What did that look like?
Pretty much just her saying like she's not the only person who's ever done something wrong in this house. And at first I was like, hey, like, like talking back, like, blah, 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 blah. And
No, we can't.
Sorry, I attached them in here. Like pretty much I was lying.
Blah, blah,
like,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like, you hurt my feelings. You said some like.
So you used the term harass. What about the messages was harassing to you?
So after I said that we could talk about it in person the next day, she proceeded to text me repetitively.
At any point in the text message exchange, I guess there's 2 different ways to ask this question, and one of them is probably more helpful than the other. Sometimes there's really a conversation that is taking place via text message in real time. Other times there are messages exchanged over a longer period of time that somebody, they might get a message and reply. But how long was this text message back and forth?
I think we texted back and forth for roughly 20 minutes. And then after that, she just throughout the night just kept sending me random messages.
Why is this girl touching herself so much?
Because she watches a lot of those influencers, and they do a lot of that. They do the thing.
She's touched her face tons of times. She's now giving herself a massage.
Also, I'm not going to jump the gun like we did yesterday.
Nope.
And assume a bunch of things, but I am going to say this. I think we've asked 3 times now about what is harassing about these text messages, and we still haven't gotten an answer. So
she says that she's turned them in, so hopefully we'll get to see them and really dig in. I want to hear from both of them today. You pay the rent. The dogs stay.
Okay, so were any of those messages threatening in nature?
No.
So they were all about the living situation and your role as the landlord and hers as the tenant, essentially?
Not really. They were in regards to the other girls that live here. She was just like pointing out everything that they've ever done wrong and how she feels that, she made one mistake, and that they do things wrong all the time, I guess.
Yeah, this is from yesterday.
Okay, so essentially that she had been singled out.
Yeah, for lack of
Okay.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, or not treated equitably, fairly compared to the others, however we want to frame that. Okay. And so what happened after that night?
The next day, one of my friends used to be a former officer in DeKalb County, and I just kind of asked him how to proceed. He said that I should have this documented and maybe have an officer come out, because even if she wasn't going to hurt me, if she kept repeating that she was going to self-harm, that maybe the crisis center should come check her out. So the next day I called an officer. We spoke in the living room for like 45 minutes. She happened to catch me. I told her, like, it still stands that you need to be out in 60 days. And I was like, you can't just say, I'm going to kill someone. She says, well, it's just an expression. So you can't just say you're going to self-harm, like all these things. And in the text message the night before, she did say, someone thinks I'm suicidal. Like, I guess like maybe one of her friends or something, like was like, oh, like the way you're speaking, it sounds like you're suicidal. So when the officer actually got here, she had gone off to the liquor store. So the officer didn't catch her. He suggested that, if you don't feel safe, these are your options. And he said TPO. So,
Hey, is that Kevin Hart? Real quick, liquor store. Great name for a strip club, right?
Absolutely.
Just thought I'd ask.
at first, I just went in my room when the officer left, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that. When I went in my room, she came out and she was on the phone with who I think was her parents, talking loudly and pacing in the living room, which she never does, talking about me, talking about how awful of a person I am, how awful my home is. And it was just like very harassing. So after listening to it for like 30 minutes, I just got up and I went to the courthouse to file a TPO.
Okay.
Okay. And so you said she was like pacing and talking loudly during this time, the day that you filed.
Yes.
So what was she focused on based on her statements?
She was just pretty much saying that I'm an awful person, like my house is shitty, like who do I think I am, like all these kinds of things. But it was just so aggressive because she's literally outside my bedroom door, like talking very loudly on the phone. Like all of us were like scared to come out almost.
Your house effing sucks, bro. Is she at the house? If she's still there, that's a pretty nice spot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no kidding. Did we really ever answer the question about the harassment in the text messages, though? I feel like we kind of combed over that, just moved on.
Like the judge's hair, we've slightly parted it to the one side. I'm guessing the main complaint is her saying she's going to, kill them. But I know you can't look at somebody and tell if they're going to harm themselves, but she looks like she's got a lot to live for. That's just me, though. Typically, people that are going to harm themselves don't get up and do their makeup.
That's a good point.
Unlike some people down here in the John Rambo jacket she's wearing that he wore as he walked the roads in First Blood.
Like, because
do you know who you think? Do you have a belief as to who she was on the phone with?
I believe it was her parents. I heard her say dad at one point.
Okay. And
so daddy over on,
and so you went to the courthouse to file, and what happened after that?
Hey, daddy.
I started the paperwork, and then the next week, I went over it with someone at the Women's Center, and that Friday, I talked to a judge, and she granted me TPO.
Okay, and then the respondent was removed when.
The following Monday is when I received the paperwork that morning.
Here we go again.
Right.
Possibility of using this protection order to get somebody
evict somebody,
evicted from the house. We see it so many times. It's like a loophole here. And it seems like more times than not, they show up with not much evidence. But again, we haven't seen the whole case yet. So.
And really quick, it's really strange to me. I could be completely wrong. But we're asking, for the TPO and everything, and for her to get out. Could you imagine if every single time you have to put up with stuff like this, like you're bringing people into your home, and then you have to evict them to get out? and you got to live with them. It's not. It's,
Oh,
I mean, it's one thing if you own a property, you've got to evict people out, but if they're in the house with you, and you've got to get them evicted.
Hey,
Oh, what a horrible situation.
I gotta say, going about it this way though, a lot easier than going about it as an eviction process. I know that much. That I don't know much, but that I know. A lot easier going this route than trying to do all of that stuff. Carol, 3 bones. Thank you. Did anybody else notice that I said, "Hey, Daddy," and Grotto showed up out of nowhere? Is that a coincidence? I think not.
He was already here and just waiting for you to call him.
1 second.
So
And a whole lot cheaper too, I would imagine.
Oh, has to be. Wait. Oh, we're gonna go get a witness.
I'm not sure I'm sold that that's not a green
Okay.
screen room, by the way.
Oh,
all right,
okay.
and partly I don't want to direct questioning one way and then miss something else that I should have asked about, but any other incidents outside of this window in April that I should have asked about, but I haven't.
No, I mean, I caught on that she had a drinking problem. It was pretty apparent, but like I documented in this issue in the list of like instances I had, like she brought home someone who was very questionable. And there was like 3 or 4 incidents where she just left my back door wide open, like through the night.
No,
But in regards to
That really doesn't have anything to do with it, honey. I understand crazy things go on in this house, but let's be questionable about the back door being open on her as well. 5, count 'em, 5 big ones. Thank you, Georgia Beach.
leave the rest of that one alone.
to like her temper or her like threatening me, that had not happened yet.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Heyman, you are unmuted. This is the opportunity where you will have questions for this particular witness. It sounds like they may call 1 or 2 other witnesses after her, and when they testify, you'll have a chance to question them as well.
Witnesses
Are there
fun.
questions for this witness that you think the court needs to ask at this time?
Not really. I mean, I have a pretty good standalone defense. I have plenty of evidence.
Uh-oh.
I don't trust her answers anyway. So yeah, no questions.
All right, very good. Ms. Calise, you
Take
can
that.
get the witness who is physically with you. And if you want to take this time to go ahead and text the other person to try to log back in, we'll keep an eye on the waiting room while we're hearing your first witness's testimony so that we can get to your second witness when the time comes.
Right? It's a Heyman. It's a Hyman.
Maybe it's Heyman. Like Paul Heyman. I'm a Heyman guy.
Good move on her part, by the way. I like that. It was
Yeah, and she's like, I'm not wasting my time with you, girl. Girl, I don't trust you.
Huh. Oh, hey.
All right, good morning or good afternoon. Sorry. Can I have you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your hand down. And I just want to make sure, because the instructions for you are almost the opposite of the instructions for Miss Calise, but she is still in the room and she can still hear what's going on. Is that correct? Okay, just wanted to make sure. You have to leave. She's required to be here. So, all right, you are, and I'm sorry, could you tell me your name again, please?
My name is Sheree Manuela, and I am one of the tenants.
All right, how long have you been living at the location?
Since February 2022, so February of last year.
Okay, so a little over a year as well. And I guess tell us what you've observed that you wish to call to the court's attention today.
So Sandy moved in, I'd be inclined to say a few weeks after me, maybe 6 to 8 weeks after me. I'm not sure of the exact dates. In the beginning, everything was fine. She kind of stuck to herself, but everyone is more than welcome to do so. However, over the past few months, I would say that there has been some worrisome behavior. I think one particular incident that I didn't think much of back then, but in hindsight was a red flag, was when in the middle of the night, the fire alarm was set off and I was asleep. So it wasn't me.
It's just a high school prank.
We kind of all came to the conclusion that it likely came from Sandy's room, after which we all retreated back to our rooms. And she actually went into the living room and she confronted our other roommate, who is currently not present, Alexandria Purdy. And
really
she
pretty, I
basically
heard.
was like, I
Miss
know it
Purdy.
was you, just tell them it was you. Very confrontational. Again,
What did you believe that was in reference to?
to the fire alarm being set off.
Okay.
Fire alarm being set off.
Is it a high school at this place? I mean,
I know the high
yanked
school
back-
pranks
what
are
kind-
happening. We, went
what
back
kind of
to our,
alarm? Did they mean like smoke detector or smoke alarm? Like
I don't know.
did the fire department show up? I don't know. These
Also,
women are
Husky says like we all retreated back to our rooms, like they're
like she was reading from a book. By the way, is the other lady reading a book? I see her with a book and she's like just not amused by any of the going ons. Oh, so catty.
So then we had a period of time without incident. However, it is, I believe that Ms. Heyman drinks quite a bit. And sadly, that can lead to some, I think, more volatile responses. So let me regain my train of thought over here. So for instance, there was this particular incident a few weeks ago, I would say about 45 weeks ago now. Miss Quillies wasn't home.
Did she say 45 weeks ago? That's a long time. Holy shit. No wonder she couldn't remember very well.
I was home together with Miss Purdy. And Sandy was also home. I think there was something that may have really upset her that day. I came home and she's yelling at the dogs, which is something that she has done before, where she will yell at them like, shut the F up, things like that. Usually it just stops with that behavior. So it wasn't something that surprised me anymore because I'd seen it before. However, this particular day, she started slamming all of the doors. She was on the phone yelling. She said, I'm going to hurt the dog.
She's going to hurt dogs. Look, I'll go ahead and say this now. We do not condone hurting of animals in any way, shape, or form. And these are allegations that have not been proven yet. But that's... Thank you. Thank you. Don't make me yell at everybody for being mean to Cree.
Dogs, I may hurt somebody. I'm sick and tired of this. So at this point, once I heard that, I decided to call Miss Quillies to inform her what was going on at home. And that
not to detour us too bad, but so as I try to keep track here, you, Miss Quillies, Miss Heyman, and Miss Purdy.
we all live.
Okay. Is there anyone else who lives in the house at this or at that time? I guess. Okay. So
and we are the 4 occupants of the house.
Got it. So you call Miss Quillies, and then what happens?
I call Miss Quillies, really just requesting if she could talk to Sandy and ask her to stop yelling and slamming doors, because in that particular moment, it was making me feel very uncomfortable in the house, especially paired with the words of, I might hurt somebody or I might hurt the dogs. Now, I am not quite sure. I wasn't there for the conversation between the two of them. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but she continued this behavior up until about 1 a.m. at nighttime. I suppose some conversation went on between Miss Quillies and Miss Heyman. Again, I'm not privy to that. I was hoping that would resolve the issue. However, over the next few days, she actually continued this behavior. And what was particularly worrisome to me was, prior to this, Miss Heyman spent a lot of time in her room, which again, you're entitled to spend as much time in your room as you wish. I do that too. However, it seemed like she was stepping out of her room into the living room where we could all hear the conversations for us to overhear it. And if you then make statements as, I'm ready to kill somebody, or I might just hurt myself and they can find me in my room. That's a certain type of rhetoric combined with what I believe to be excessive drinking that worries me. It's worrisome to me because, well, I think it's always a threat until it's no longer a threat. And I think someone who may feel, from what I overheard in the conversations, who may feel like their back is up against the wall, and who at the same point is also drinking excessively and blaming, there was a lot of blame of we're ruining her life, that may escalate to a situation where we may no longer be safe, compared with those verbal threats of being willing to hurt somebody or herself. So I started actually sleeping with my room door closed whenever I'm here.
Look, as long as it's making money, he can pout all he wants.
Guys, thank you, Leather Lashes. Appreciate the 10. I think
I haven't heard anything yet. Nothing.
I tell you what I have heard is that we're kind of hyper focusing on her spending too much time in her own room.
I had to censor her nudity, Creed, but she was drunk as a skunk. She's out here with her booze, nude, pulling fire alarms, just going nape shit nuts at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Case closed. Let's get drunk.
Did you hear her saying spending too much time in her room, drinking too much? We got like we're keeping a real close eye on how she's living her life in her own rented spot. It doesn't matter if she don't come out for a week
or ever.
It's her
play. As long as she's paying the rent. She doesn't have to socialize with you kids.
She's kind of painting a picture that like the only time that she came out into the room is when she came out to tell everybody that she's going to off herself or something.
These damn dogs barking. Can we bring the dogs in as witnesses?
Hello there, Double F.
Fred Franklin.
I don't spend a lot of time here anymore. I spend most of my time at my boyfriend's place now, which is also a big contributor to that fact, is being in an environment where I just feel unsafe.
All right.
English isn't my first language, so I hope everything comes across.
You're nailing it. So, Ms. Heyman, do you have any questions for this witness?
I do. And I'm not even aware of everyone's last names. I mean, this is how little they actually know me and how much they're projecting, things onto my motives and everything else. Andy's last name. I don't have her last name.
That's Miss Purdy.
The roommate that you have.
She's in the waiting room.
Miss Purdy.
And this is Miss Manuela, whose last name matches
I have,
first name, which is how she got that to us when she came in the waiting room.
Right, I remember that. Okay, so Miss Birdie. Okay, so Miss Manuela, given that Miss Birdie walked out of her room with marijuana smoke billowing behind her, very obviously high with a strange man the night that the fire alarm went off. What made all of you so sure that it was me when I told you that it wasn't me? And I had told you in the past when I had set up the fire alarm, when I had dried my hair underneath the fire alarm, and I instantly admitted to it. What made you so sure that it was me when I've admitted to it in the past, given that it was likely Miss Birdie?
It must have been one hell of a hot thing, or either she was just burning her hair off.
Is she burning hair off? Or what? She got one of them Dyson ones? Jesus.
I like that she is threw the one Miss Purdy under the bus, saying she'd come out of the room with a strange man, weed smoke surrounding her.
No, I like it. I like it.
She was like, just nodding her head, yes.
Biggest thing is, I mean, you can't prove any of that, but it's great entertainment. And by the way, F, marry, kill. Crass says F the redhead, marry the witness, and kill the lad.
I haven't seen Miss Purdy yet. Can we bring her into the mix?
With the last name of Purdy, she got to be.
She better live up to that name.
All right, back to the sorority sisters, the sorority house, or whatever it's called.
Given that fact, what made you so sure that it was me?
Well, I think you can also direct that question to Miss Birdie when she joins us later. However, Andy was actually, I'll refer to her as Andy if that's okay. She was actually standing in the kitchen when it happened.
So where were you standing when it happened?
Me, I was in my bed asleep.
Then how do you know she was in the kitchen?
Because I hear the fire alarm going off. I walk out of the bedroom because if you wake up to a fire alarm, I'm assuming there's some sort of a fire. I get up, I walk out of my room, and what I walk into is
the other things when a horn beeps, the car's being stolen also.
Yeah, I mean, And by the way, Chris, thank you for the memberships that have been gifted.
Very quickly, want to tell you that by the end of the week, we'll figure out a date and time for our first ever We Got a Case channel members only. So just so
Yeah. Maybe we'll let you guys vote on a time and then do it whatever time we want to do.
We'll figure it out.
Quelise, Manuela Quelise. I see her walking out of her room. I see Sandy walking out of her room, and I see Andy standing in the kitchen. So my first look is there a lot of smoke that has been generated in the kitchen? From my observations in that present time, there wasn't. And also setting off a fire alarm, I was using that example really to show the confrontation that takes place here. No one was angry. Setting off a fire alarm isn't a huge deal in essence when everyone is home. It can happen to the best of us. I have probably set it off before while I was cooking. The reason I brought up the situation was because the moment she walked out, and I think that is someone who has something to defend us, she was like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. There was smoke coming out of her room from her vape. She uses a vape device that generates a lot of smoke. Also, the way our fire alarms are set up, her fire alarm is closer to her bed than the other fire alarms are.
The vape isn't smoke, though. That's
I don't think that vape
water vapor.
You guys would know.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like a vapor.
I don't think that it would set it off, would it?
No, there's no way. No way. And boy, she'd have to really be doing some vaping if
that's yeah. I mean, I've seen
she
people
comes out and was like,
but,
coming out like she's Leonard Skinnerd.
Guys, we'll put that in.
That'll be taken into consideration.
It won't be Monday. It won't be Friday, so we don't have that.
The reason I brought up the situation was because we all just stepped out.
Do you notice a slight difference with Judge Dude today with having some pretty ladies out here?
Well, I mean, makes a man act a certain way, Creed.
By the way, second or third time we've heard him explain that it's perfectly fine for you to swear in his courtroom, and I kind of like that. I like his approach on that.
I mean, it sounds weird if he just says "talk dirty to me." I mean,
that's true. You can't do that as a judge. I guess
it's frowned upon.
Out. It was this thing of, someone set off the fire alarm.
Burner,
and I was like, I'm going to go back to sleep. Manny said, or Manuela Quelise said, it's not that big of a deal. Let's just make sure it doesn't happen again. We all retreated back to our rooms. And then when Andy was in the kitchen by herself, Miss Heyman came out and was like, you've got to say it was you. I know you did it. Yada, yada, yada. And that, I think, proves this early beginnings of highly confrontational behavior.
All right. Any other questions, Ms. Heyman?
Yes. Miss Manuela, would you deny that you and Miss Birdie frequently smoke marijuana together, either on the back porch or the front?
Don't care. That's not what we're here for.
George repeats 5 bones. Thank you. And I guess vaping can set off a smoke alarm. All right.
I guess so. She's trying to work on this lady's credibility, I think. But who cares?
Can you all add?
Go ahead, Creed.
I guess he's very pro smoking of the weed, or
I don't think it has anything. Don't have anything to do with the harassment and threats. I don't believe, unless she's threatened by marijuana smoke. Then that's a problem. Do
you think that? Well, it was going to lead into the next question. Do you think that maybe there's a memory lapse with, your because I remember that night Andy was in her room. She came out of her room. I was saying it wasn't me because the last time it had been, and I kind of meant it sort of good naturedly.
So right now, do you have any questions for this witness?
Well, I mean, if you don't care, then I mean, I guess not.
Okay, yeah, the fire alarm piece of this is not. Let's put it this way: if everything she says about the protective order is 100% true, if everything that all of their witnesses say about the fire alarm is true, it is not going to affect whether a protective order is granted or denied in this case. The way that the law is structured in regards to protective orders is that I have
Gary.
I think I know what she was trying to do right there. I think she was going to say, Gary, with your excessive marijuana use all the time, do you feel like maybe you're the way you're remembering things and your version of things may be skewed because of
I can
your
see that.
yeah, I think that's why she was going to try and like shoot it down a little bit.
And he shut all of that down. Now, here's another since we've noticed this where people will take one little piece of a case, right? Just one little thing. In this instance, it's the smoke alarm, which again, he's trying to tell them it's not that big of a deal. Nobody's harassed. Again, what we're trying to prove for a protection order has nothing to do with your smoke alarm or setting it off. I mean, but we're all hyper focused on just that. So I give him credit for kind of shutting that all down, and let's move on to the next. Still in Georgia, bud.
John.
To make a finding that there have been predicate acts of family violence committed by a person that are from a specific enumerated list, and things that are outside of that
Natalie
can to a slight extent color how interactions might take place in the future or how somebody interprets an interaction, but they are not in and of themselves reasons that a protective order could even be granted.
Am I allowed
no matter, even if there was video, let's put it that way.
Am I allowed to direct a question to Ms. Heyman, or?
You are not.
Hey, man.
And so, Ms. Heyman, do you have any other questions for this witness at this time?
I don't know. I'll cover it later.
All right. So, ma'am, you can return to your literal physical waiting room.
Went green.
Wherever else you would like to be as the hearing moves on. Miss Purdy, at least last time I checked, was in our virtual waiting room, and we're going to bring her in to provide her testimony at this time.
Okay. Will I still be called upon later?
Maybe.
Probably not. Almost certainly not. So I guess what I would say is, because we've already taken up a substantial portion of your day, but also I think we'll probably be done within the next 20 to 30 minutes regardless. So if you have somewhere else you need to be, they can either provide you the Zoom information on the very small chance you need to come back in to testify, or if you want to wait around, I would expect we'd be fully done by 1:15.
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Carol, double check yourself. You're watching
All
something
right.
that's old, by the way.
I'm pulling in Miss Purdy. All right, Miss Purdy, it looks like you've connected to audio there. I'm going to send you a prompt to unmute. And if you're able, a little bit of an echo. I'll ask if you could raise your right hand for me, please.
Oh, Carol, she's not live at the moment.
What's going on? Pike is back. What? Really?
Carol
I'm looking.
She thinks that Judge Manning is live right now, but unfortunately, she is not.
I'm looking, Carol. We'll stop what we're doing so I can ruin Carol's thoughts on what's going on.
That's it. I'm sorry. She's not on it.
I mean, she's been on 18 hours ago. I mean, does that count? I don't know. She has been re-releasing videos, by the way, that were gone. So you might see her with Pike. It's a good chance. Real good chance. I'm sorry, Carol.
Sorry, Carol. But it remember, during live chases and everything ends and there's nobody live anymore and everybody's in the chat going, yeah, well, NBC's live right now. Oh, they're not replaying what we just watched? No?
It's all right, though, Carol. It's all right. It's happened before. Okay, it'll happen again.
The entire show, Carol.
That's all right, Carol.
I'm going to check the traffic, Carol.
Carol, you've scared off Creed. Great. Let's get to the pothead, Miss Purdy.
Do you swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. I've already heard from Miss Calise and Miss Manuela. We brought you in from the virtual waiting room to give your testimony now. And the way that works is you'll provide your testimony to the court. And Ms. Heyman will have an opportunity to suggest questions for the court to ask you thereafter. And then you will pretty much have finished what you have in front of you. So what have you come here to tell us today?
Just like the threats of harm that I've heard. My room is right next to hers. So a lot of times she'll be on the phone when she's drunk or erratic and she's talking about hurting herself, hurting us, giggling about it.
Wow.
There's been an instance where the attention has been put on me because I had to there was almost a fire in the house because she left a candle. So she's like almost had it out for me. So it's like I feel unsafe. And then just hearing her talk about harming us, harming herself. Yeah.
All right. So I'm trying to build a court record here. And so what we need to do, and I know you missed out on my introductory speech, but we need to dwell in specifics. I don't want you to fret about exactly what date something might have happened, but give me a general idea. You could say, oh, about a month ago, or a few weeks ago, or last summer, or whatever. And then when you get past that, if you're talking about something you interpret as a threat, I need to know what was said and the context around it. And then I can, interpret from there. So when you say that she would make threats toward you, what are you hearing her say toward you and the other roommates? Excuse me.
Yeah. So she was she was saying whenever I used to think about like killing people, I think I would feel bad. But now living here, like I don't think it would be so bad. And she would just start laughing. I don't know who she's talking to on the phone though. This is about like 2 weeks ago when the TPO was like around the time the TPO was instated. So a couple weeks ago. Earlier this month, I believe.
Okay, so how many conversations like that did you overhear?
2 or 3.
Okay, and they were all in that March to early April window?
Yes.
Okay, and so
It seems like the lady that we're having all the Miss Hyman up here, it seems like is she older than these girls? Like these seem like younger girls, and she seems like an older, not old lady, but older lady, right? Am I looking at this wrong? Maybe. But Toby's not. Toby knows what he likes. Thank you, Toby. Thank you. I'll let Creed know when he comes back. I'll remind myself. Thank you, Toby.
she's on the phone with someone else. You don't know who she's talking to. Is anyone else with you who hears these things?
I'm not sure. I could overhear in my room because it's closest, but I know there's other people home, or I think one of my other roommates was home, but I'm not sure if she heard it.
Okay.
Judge, pardon me, but actually that particular conversation she's talking about, I had gotten home that night around 1 a.m. and we both heard it. So Andy was in her room and I was out here, and Sandra was in her room on the phone, and she's laughing and she's saying, I've always thought about killing people, and the longer I live here, I think I might do it. And Andy and I both heard it, and we talked about it the next day. We were like, what? I didn't sleep that night.
Thank you, Toby.
Toby said he loved our work.
Thank you, Toby. I appreciate that. Not to sidetrack the whole thing. Guys, I've got some Fiji water here. I don't want you guys to think that like I'm out, eating at Jersey Mike's subs and drinking the world's most expensive water. Still broke. Promise you that. Not that she's not older, Mikey. You're right. She just seems like she's at that age where she'd have a child and or more. Have you Creed? Is Mikey Creed? Is Mikey leave us? Is Mikey gone? Oh no! You guys killed Mikey. Mikey's gone. He's Creed framed. Oh. Now what do we do? Is Judge Manning live? Can we go to her? He's a goner. All right, let's go over here for a minute while we see what's going on. And we'll get back to that as soon as his internet comes back, I guess.
In the amount of $10,000.
Thank you so much. Counts.
I said the power went out.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to let the court know we were able to make contact with one of the victims, Your Honor. She does not know the defendant, but her vehicle was struck several times during this incident. Your Honor, as the court just heard, he is currently on a no bond status for aggravated assault and violation of the Street Gangs Act. Although these incidences both happened in October, they are on different dates, Your Honor, and have different numbers in our case office.
At least I come right back
It's
when I
the state's
agreed for it.
position that he is a threat to the community if he was to be given a bond, and the state is concerned about the likelihood of reoffending. So the state is requesting no bond and let the Superior Court handle both of the cases.
Hello, Alan. No reason to yell.
I got some questions.
Oh, my apologies. Please continue, Judge.
No, go ahead.
Everybody talk
I
over each
was
other.
just wanting to update the court that Leanna Dudley, his mother, says that she's in the waiting room. So I wasn't sure.
Could Mikey have the creed frame of the week?
Hector, let's see if we can let her in.
There's no one in the waiting room, Judge.
Okay. So, state, let me make sure I understand because the notes that I have here on the warrant, it says that the defendant's cell phone was located in the vehicle. In which vehicle, though? Because I'm only hearing one that somebody's vehicle was shot up. So where was the cell phone located?
Your Honor, I believe it's my understanding that there were 2 different vehicles, and that one of the vehicles did drive away. I'm not certain which one was where it was found, but there were 2 vehicles involved in this case, Your Honor.
Don't send money, he won't come back.
That shooting came from?
Yeah,
there was 3 vehicles total.
Cuts his power.
Oh my God!
But it does appear that there was.
Welcome back.
Are we ready to
3 vehicles total involved, Your Honor? So it was more than just 1 vehicle.
to our regularly scheduled broadcast?
Yeah. So I was saying to you right as you were ducking out, I was like, yeah, I don't know if she's that much older or anything, but I guess just her look has that look and feel like
Mature woman.
And, you know,
yeah,
got her shit together. No, not living in a house full of, basically in a. That's just.
It seems like they're all really childish except for her, but she is also the one that said they're gonna kill a MFer. So
well, that's true.
Let's find out.
All right. Let's see. And so you said your room, Miss Purdy, is closest to Miss Heyman's?
Yes, it's right next to it.
Okay. All right. And Miss, any other incidents or anything else you wish to call to the court's attention?
Not specifically. I think those are the most dire.
All right. Ms. Heyman, any questions for this witness?
Nope.
All right, Ms. Purdy, if we had a witness stand and you were here with us in a courtroom, this is the part where I would say you could step down and be excused. We're going to place you back in the waiting room. I think it's highly unlikely that there's a circumstance you would need to come back just based on the order in which these proceedings happen. So you're free to log off if something does come up. And again, it's a very small chance. Then I'll have Ms. Calise reach out to you since she knows how to contact you and she can ask you to log back in if necessary. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
That hook on her nose would annoy the living crap out of me, by the way.
It looks all right on
Courtier
girls.
Yeah, time to go back to Walmart, get another disc.
And was that your final witness, Ms. Calise? Okay. All right, Ms. Heyman, this is the opportunity for you to make a statement if you wish to make a statement. And if you do intend to do so, you can let me know and then I'll swear you in.
Yes, I do.
All right, please raise your right hand.
Let's get ready.
You swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down if you'd like. What would you like to tell us today?
Well, just first of all, I do have exact dates. I have, a lot of evidence. I don't have personal witnesses myself because most of my support system is up in Maryland, which is really, I just want to go back to Maryland. I think that I think that the girls are placing a lot more importance as far as their role in my life than really exists. I think that they have assumed things that aren't true and read into things that aren't happening. I think they've put a lot of words into my mouth. I think that they have, again, just kind of construed things that I've said to be things that they're not and that are very them-centric when, again, they're not. I do know that the day that they're talking about when I was outside talking with my parents, I do not recall saying a single thing about them. I have been stressed out because I got into a not at fault accident back in November. My car
I'm sorry, a what accident?
A not at fault accident. Somebody hit me from behind.
Not at fault.
I do have insurance money that I could use, but it's likely to be totaled regardless. And so I mean it's still technically drivable. I've been driving it. It's been very stressful. With COVID, I have been working as a massage therapist. I'm not someone who wants to hurt anybody. I don't even know what they're talking about with I'm someone who's always wanted to hurt somebody. I'm someone who wants to heal and help people. I used to be a massage therapist. But anyway, with COVID, I didn't have work anymore. And so I've been getting some help from my parents. And they've been driving me kind of nuts because with, the car thing, they just seem to assume that I have to come home and live with them and my dad can get me a job. And I just feel like I'm too old for it at 38 and that I should be allowed to make my own decisions.
38.
So she is older than
a lot older
expected. I wish we would have known that we would have gotten an age verification. It would have been fun to see in the chat. I wish we were on a delay.
She's way older than these girls then, right?
Yes, I think so.
That's the problem.
I'm pretty sure that she is then. Thank you, Carol. You guys kind of surprised she's 38 too then. All right. So not just us then.
I knew she was older. I just didn't know that much older.
Regardless of how they're being funded. And I just want, a chance to kind of try to get on my feet. That was the whole point of this less than ideal living situation that I'm in at the moment. And I think that Ms. Police took offense to my saying that. I think that she took offense in thinking that I was, insulting her home, insulting her character. Some of what she called harassment was actually my trying to explain to her that that's not what I was saying. It was me trying to be nice to her. It was me trying to, just not even for myself, but for her, because she does have a nice home. She has a nice home. She takes care of it. She's a decent person. I was trying to clarify that what she had seemed to read into what I had said was not what I was saying. I had told her over the phone when she called me on the phone. It was about a 26-minute conversation. The document says it was about an hour. I knew that wasn't right. And then I looked at my call log and it was about 26 minutes. But I had, told her that some people, call the cops over excessive barking with dogs. I was saying it in a way like, this is, you need to take this seriously, because she just kept acting like it wasn't a big deal and there wasn't anything that she could do about it. And I, was letting her know that I'd been doing my research because I was trying not to be irrational. I was trying to be a rational person about everything. I done my research. There's nuisance barking, there's excessive barking. When it's your landlord, it's interference with the tenant's right to quiet enjoyment. This is, and I also brought up that I have been in many roommate situations. I've been in many roommate situations. I've never had issues with any of them before in the past. I know most of them have had dogs, and they've always managed to make sure that their dogs aren't barking. And I brought up the point, I probably shouldn't have said this. I didn't mean it as a slight, which is what I think she took it as. I took up, and they were doing this in much larger houses. It's a small house. These dogs, when they bark, they're literally like 2 or 3 feet outside of my door sometimes. She has 2 dogs. One's very large. I think in the report it was written that this dog is a puppy. That's a bit of a stretch. Her dog's probably a year and a half now, I would say, at least maybe 2 years. So she has one large dog who has a very loud bark, and then she has a small dog who just has a very guttural kind of nice dog, but it's sort of a disturbing sound that he makes. So I had we had talked on the phone. I probably should have requested that we wait until I was in a calmer place. But But when she got me on the phone, she kept repeatedly saying, I'm not going to kick you out. I'm not going to kick you out. I'm not going to kick you out. And in doing that, I mean, we've never been close friends, but we've been friendly. So in doing that, I felt safe. I felt like I could trust her. I felt like I could be a little bit more emotional and a little bit more honest about, everything that was happening. And the report says, that I was being irrational, that I was all over the place, that I was scary. I remember that conversation perfectly. I mean, it's not up to me to decide what someone else perceives as scary or not. But she actually had, succeeded in kind of calming me down and making me feel better with her reassurance that I wasn't in trouble. She just wants to talk. Is everything okay? And so I felt reassured with that. But then, when we started talking about the dogs again, she went back to, oh, there's nothing that I can do. And that's when I brought up these other points. And then she told me that for her mental health, something about the dogs. And that's when I just kind of got like perplexed. And I was like, Manny, I'm telling you that like your dogs are driving me crazy. And you're telling me this is for like, what about my mental health? Like, and it's not technically legal either. Like you do have a responsibility.
This whole dog situation is odd to me. Again, you came into the situation, you knew that there were if dogs bother you so much that technically could be hurting your mental health, don't move into somewhere where they have dogs. I mean,
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Is she staying in the room so much because of the dogs? She doesn't like the dogs. She doesn't want to be around the dogs, perhaps.
Which is. And by the way, I want to say something about the age thing and us being surprised she's 38. Listen, the way that these women are living all in a house, rooms like this, typically at that age, you're not living this sort of life. Listen, they're
screams 20-somethings, yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And at 38, while the rest of them are smoking weed in the house, vaping, bringing in men, again, that's why I'm surprised that she actually is 38, because the way that the others are living, again, it's just, that's what I'm trying to say about that. Not that she's super young or super old. I mean, I just
not by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, listen, if I live near a college campus at the age of 43 or whatever I am, and hung out with a bunch of 20-somethings and then ran around going, man, that damn MFers had a party Saturday night, kept me up all night. Well, then I'm an idiot. I mean, that's just,
yeah, you're going to get it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's just how it is. But her claiming mental health because of the mental health issues, because of the dogs, I don't know what to think about that.
As the landlord to your tenant. And that was kind of how, I don't think the conversation ended there. I think from there we had a conversation about like what to do next, like what our schedules were and how we could kind of like start working with each other more to make sure that like the barking wasn't so excessive, because the dogs, they bark more when she's home. When I have told the dogs to stop barking. I think that's the first time I ever used the F word and telling them to stop barking. Usually I just it's a strong commanding stop. That's what I usually say, is just stop. I say it right outside the door and they stop. But when Manny's there, it's, kind of a weird power dynamic to have your landlord also be your roommate. It's her home. So I feel like I don't really have a right to, it's almost like disciplining someone's children or something, to tell the dogs to stop.
My house.
There.
My rules.
Don't tell my dogs like that.
Like a weird dynamic, and it had just been a weird few weeks where I have been at the house a lot lately. It's because of my car stuff. My battery kept dying because of damage to the trunk. I finally got that fixed, and then as soon as I get that fixed, a tree from overhead came down and impaled the windshield.
Battery in the trunk?
So it was just a lot. And it was a lot that was keeping me Ubering and not really able to go out and do much. And I've also been in a state where I'm just journaling a lot. There have been a lot of assumptions about what I'm doing in my room. I think the general assumption journaling. And they're like, plotting everyone's death or something. It's ridiculous. I've been journaling. I've been buying different, journals with special artwork that's important to me. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, where I want to go next. I do have my parents pressuring me to come back to the Washington, DC, Baltimore area. I'm thinking about it. My brother and his wife, they're having twins in June. I already have 2 nephews. They're all up there.
My father and his wife are having twins? What is your father thinking?
I'm sorry, I'm still hemmed up on the battery not working because of the damage in our trunk.
Oh, our dad's got to be at least 58.
Are we are we at another one of these cases where we're going to keep harping on 9,000 other things to try and make sure that the judge doesn't realize that there's no violence, there's no harassment, there's no really any substance to this at all? So we're just going to ramble, use word salad. And hope
Oh,
for
I'm
the
sorry,
best.
Carol. Carol says she said brother, not father.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Okay, well, that's better.
Is
But
Judge
again,
Manning
we're talking
alive,
about
Carol?
shit that has nothing to do with this. We're getting this lady's life story.
We are. We're throwing 9,000 things at the wall, hoping one piece of shit sticks, I guess.
There. So, I have been thinking this is really what I want to do for me. And, how do I get there in a way where I'm independent and, I'm not just
I'm not trying to date you, honey.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of covered the
thank you, Judge.
The substance of the dispute and how it played out. Ms. Calise, do you have questions for Ms. Heyman at this time?
No. No.
Miss Heyman, so you deny being aggressive with me over the conversation we had on the phone the very first day of
I think
let me jump in and clarify. I want to make sure all three of us are in agreement about what day we're talking about. Are you talking about the day that you gave the 60-day notice?
Yes, sir. April 5th, I believe.
Okay, so on is it your statement that you were not aggressive the day that you were given the 60-day notice, Ms. Heyman? That is her question.
I don't think that I was aggressive. No, but again, her perception is her perception. I did not threaten her. I did not, I didn't yell. I apparently raised my voice a little bit. She said that no one's ever raised their voice at her before, which I'm not sure that I believe that. But no, I did not do anything that I think that.
Just like I don't believe you've never had a problem with a roommate before.
Yeah.
Said that too, remember.
All right.
Perfect
any other
roommate.
questions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ms. Heyman, do you deny being intoxicated during every conversation that we've had?
Every conversation?
No, and not every single conversation that we've had. That conversation, yes, I had a couple drinks during that conversation, but I remember it fully. And this is what I was trying to get at, by the way, with the question that I was asking Miss Manuela.
Good question.
Why can I interject something here? We both know that her and Miss Birdie smoke weed constantly.
It has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, well, so just I'm wondering, why are
she's the only one in the house that doesn't smoke weed. So now we're really getting to the bottom of they just don't want her around. She's not one of them. She's an old broad in their eyes.
That question could have hit a lot better if you would have said something like, again, yeah, like whether last is like vast majority of the conversation. You don't want to just throw it in there like, every single conversation you've ever had. Well, she can easily under oath say no, because I'm sure there was a conversation or two where she
had to be at least one, maybe the first day she moved in, something.
I don't know. And by the way, this is one case that I really cannot pick either side at the moment at all. I am completely
I'm at the point of thinking this is a wash.
Are we trusting their statements and not mine? Why do we trust their memory and not my memory?
Again, memory with the weed.
Well, I think the answer to that for her is probably that she's experiencing some of these things directly.
She circled back to
her own skin.
She's gonna make it happen.
So it's not about. I mean, I make my own decisions, but the things that someone goes through,
just like high school,
with someone else versus the things they perceive others going through separate from them, often hit very different. So
I just have one last question. Ms. Hammond, did you make multiple remarks over phone calls to family and friends about harming us?
No, I did not. I did not. And I don't know. I don't know where you're getting that from. I honestly don't know where you're getting that from. I really don't. I think that I did make some self-harm comments. Yes. But no, I'm not. I don't want to harm any of you. I just want to move on with my life. I'm like in a being.
How do you say? I think I made some self-harm. I mean, I wouldn't know if I said I was going to do something rash like that. I think I remember.
But she might be a pretty big drinker, though. We don't know. We're not sure. We're not.
She's definitely a booze hound, allegedly.
Yeah. Are the younger girls trying to get like Flood said, get mama out of the house? She ain't no fun, man. Get this bitch out of here.
We just want to get high, so high.
Airbnb right now that costs more for a week than what I pay to live with you for a month. As soon as I was unceremoniously kicked out while I journaled in my room, I went to a cheap motel and a guy literally broke into my room. He was someone with a front desk. He used his key to just come into my room. I mean, so I have to, spend a little bit more money to be more safe. I'm sorry if you feel like
at the Motel 6. Motel 6 things happen. I mean, that's what you get for a $40 a night room. I'm sorry.
I have never heard of somebody from the front desk like, "Hey, baby, you're just coming right in the room. How's it going? I saw you drinking. I brought some booze."
I've done anything to threaten your safety, but I have not committed any crimes. I can't compromise my reputation, my safety, my actual safety, but I can't go into financial ruin over this. I'm not out to get anybody. I just want to move on with my life. I want to quite possibly go back to Maryland.
All right. Any other questions, Ms. Calise?
No.
She wants to move the state.
So the questions that we have to answer in these hearings are as follows. Is there a family violence relationship between the parties?
No.
The answer to this, even though this is a little bit of a square peg in a round hole, the answer to that is yes, because you two live together. I know you live together both as roommates and as landlord and tenant, where the landlord happens to share the same space. But Georgia law does set up a system for these types of orders where we don't really have to dig deeper than that. We don't have to hear arguments from people about, well, we dated for this long. No, we only dated for this long. So then the next question is a little more complicated. Have there been acts of family violence committed between the parties that are enumerated under Georgia law? And will this order help prevent those acts from reoccurring in the future? My finding today is that I will not be issuing the protective order. If any threats were made, they were non-specific in nature. They were not in the context that was provided by the testimony of parties on both sides of this case. In my opinion, it is much more likely than not, in the context they were presented, that they were not actual threats. They were things people say. People with siblings have made threats to kill their siblings on numerous occasions that were where you would almost envision them chasing each other like cartoon characters. It is.
So Judge has brothers.
Judge has brothers. He said it before. Chasing each other with mallets.
Denied.
Things like that. I don't think we need to go any further. He's already denied it. It's a done deal.
That's that. Again, washed. He got it right, I think.
There was absolute. I'm surprised it got this far to be completely.
Again, I'm gonna say it. Trying to get her evicted, basically through a protection order. That's how I feel.
I think you're 100% right. I really do. I mean, I hate to say that, but it seems that way.
No. Again, we're showing up with no. At least we had a witness. One witness.
Your two pothead roommates. Puff pass.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. That was a lot of fun. Don't forget, more fun coming up. 4:05 Wild Worman Wednesday Creed. It's been promoted as the oldest wild woman we've ever had. Ever.
I'm ready for it. 405 East. We got a chase. See you then. The countdown is continuing till we get our main channel back, right? It's pretty close, pretty soon.
Yeah, if things go the way they should, we'll be back on there tomorrow.
I hope so. So we can have members only Friday. I've got ideas for good stuff.
Got ideas, Daddy. Ooh, they're good. They're good.
The Gary Express, aka Monetary Monorail today. Regina, thank you. Bud Smoke, thank you. Flusher, thank you. Carol, the award winner, thank you. Georgia Peach, thank you. Leather and Lashes, thank you. Chris, thank you. Peachy Keen, thank you. Flusha. Georgia Peach, Peach, Gary. The Carol is wrong fund. Peach the Funder, Flusha Hyman. Young 38-year-old Carol. Flusha loves booze too. That today's Gary's Express. Thank you guys. Hugh, we'll see you at 4:05. Same with you, Tina. Make sure to come back.
Yeah, we're going to be back here waiting for you guys. I hope you'll be waiting for us. If you haven't already liked this video, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, think about it. We're not your usual law tubers. We're here to have a good time. Like those 3 girls that were living with that old lady. We're here to have a good time.
Things are a little different over here.
A little different. And that's good. If you're different, we love you. We'll be back soon for some heartwarming action. Till then, stay safe. Stay something.
Yes, family.
And more old car chases, correct. Bye-bye.
Didn't